Friend, our pageant series. We are live, and there she is,
Hey,
the gorgeous
Cynthia.
Yolanda.
How are you?
I am good. Something weird is happening here. I keep getting logged out, but hey, we are here, and thank you so much for accepting my invitation. Well, my friends, we have the iconic Yolanda Stennett here. She is tonight's guest on my pageant series, The Crowned Voice. I am your host, Reine Cynthia, the queen of pageant talk. And like I said, this is going to be a very interesting conversation. We are going to talk about Black women in pageantry. So call a friend, tell a friend, share this live with women who are either in the modeling world or who compete in beauty pageants. Yolanda, thanks again for accepting my invitation and
Thank
welcome.
you for having me.
You are welcome. So now, first question for those of you who don't know, Yolanda, she is a former Mrs. Earth, 2008, Miss Beliza Latina, 2009. She is also Miss Galaxy, 2011, and Mrs. International 2021, where I met her in person and formed a connection. Yolanda, can you believe it? It's 2024 already. We're already in March, and here we are 4 years after you and I met. Well, a couple of years after you and I met, and we're talking about Black women in pageantry.
I know it seems like the time has really gone by, but you know what? They always say time flies when you're having fun.
Right. So, do you believe can you really believe that we are talking about Black women in pageantry? I mean, do we still have to have these conversations? Why are we having the conversation about Black women in pageantry? I mean, is this really something that needs to be talked about in today's world?
You know what? Everything needs to be talked about in today's world. Luckily, this generation is becoming way more tolerant and accepting of one another than previous generations. And I think it's really important to have those conversations because if you don't have the conversations, then you don't end up understanding and you can't grow if you don't understand what people are thinking and feeling.
I agree. Now, I said I met you at Mrs. International when I competed for the first time. You were the reigning queen at Mrs. International 2021. And that in itself was sort of history because before you, I believe it was 20 plus years before a Black woman won Mrs. International. Many Black women competed, but it took like, 20 years. Like there was this major gap, right? When you won, how did you feel? Like, explain to us in words what went through your head when your name was called, or when did it hit you actually that you won?
Um, it didn't hit me at first when they said Maryland because I was really in shock. I had competed the year before, hadn't even made top 15 or whatever. And so when I came back the second time, my goal was just to make the top 10, right? It wasn't even a goal to win because I don't count my chickens before they hatch, right? So I
Okay.
always set attainable goals. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to work really hard. I'm going to change a couple things. And this time around, I really just want to cut the mustard. I want to be able to compete on finals night. And so when my name was called into the top 15, I was like, thank God. I was like, I did what I said to do. But, it was very surreal because, I had this feeling all week that like just things were going too well for me, right? Like I was way too comfortable. Like I wasn't really nervous about anything. And I had said to the lady who was standing in line with me backstage, I said, so I just want a question about what's happening in Cuba. That's it, because they were asking current event questions. And I said, I know if I get asked a question about Cuba, I'm going to nail it and I'm going to win. This is what I was saying to myself,
Right, right,
right? I told her I just want
right.
to talk about Cuba. And the angels were on my side because we pick random questions out of a fishbowl. And what question do I get? Something about Cuba. And
Wow.
in that moment, I think I knew in that moment, right? Something told me speak from the heart. I hadn't rehearsed any kind of a speech, and the words just kind of flew through me. And when I finished and I walked away, I knew that that was probably the best that I had ever done in any pageant competition. And win or lose, I was going to be really, really proud of myself. But I had this weird feeling that things were going way too well all week. I was too comfortable. Things were just gliding by. I was like, you know what? Maybe, just maybe, I just did it.
Right. And we were so happy when you won. You mentioned Cuba. You are of Latina descent as well, correct? I mean, are you African American? Are you
Both,
Afro Latina?
both.
Where are you from?
So my parents are Caribbean, so Puerto Rico and Dominican Republic. So it's a little bit of everything.
Oh,
I
wow.
am a Black woman.
Wow. Wow. Oh my goodness. I'm getting a message saying that I'm logged out. Can you still see me?
I can still see you.
Well,
I
we're
don't.
going to
Okay.
continue. We're going to continue. So you are an African American. You identify as a Black woman. A lot of
Well,
people,
hold
I
on.
remember,
Let me correct that. I identify both ways.
you identify
Yes.
both ways. Yeah, yeah, and I can relate to that because I was born in the Bahamas. My family are from Haiti, so I identify as both, as a Bahamian and Haitian as well.
Hmm.
So, and I am a Black woman.
Exactly.
When you won, in the pageant community was a buzz. Everyone was happy. We have a Black Mrs. International. Yolanda won. However, there were some people that were saying that during that year of George Floyd and the Black Lives Matter, that kind of impacted you winning. Now, I know for a fact that you gave it your best. You were outstanding in every category. If you were aware of those things being said, what went through your mind? How did that impact you?
Oh, I was super aware of things being said. People are very bold nowadays. And I think President Trump gave a lot of people the courage to tell it like it is, right? Say what they want to say. And there were a lot of messages that I received, on social media. People aren't even you can't hide your name on social media. So I absolutely heard the detractors, and I heard it pretty much the whole time, right? It's not like it was in the beginning and then it stopped. Definitely heard she didn't deserve it. She only won because they got tired of the rumors of not crowning a Black person. Like, you name the rumor, I heard it and it
Wow.
came my way. And it was really, it was very frustrating and at times quite lonely.
Oh, wow. I'm sorry. I'm
It's
sorry
okay.
you went through that.
It's all right. I mean, I want to make sure I put it out there. It was those feelings that I had did not come from the staff,
Yes.
not come from the national pageant itself. So I want to make that very, very clear that the national staff was extremely supportive of me throughout the entire year. And I don't want anything to be misconstrued. So I want to make sure that I make that very clear. Things that were said and how negative feelings that may have impacted me did not come from the national directors or the national staff.
I am sorry you went through that. Again, I applaud your, when you are, the words iconic, the words pioneer, um, standing up for what you believe in, uh, trendsetter, those words carry a lot. And of course, you inspired so many women. You inspired me to join the organization because I saw it and I was like, wow, she won. This is a system that I should look into. You inspired so much, so many people, so many women. Yet you were feeling lonely. You were being attacked, for lack of a better word, correct? You were being attacked.
I don't know if attacked is the right word, but people definitely had a lot to say.
Right, verbally, there were saying things,
Oh yeah.
and so why did you stay?
Um, I earned it.
Mm,
I earned it. No one was going to chase me away. I didn't care if they didn't like me or didn't want me or didn't think that I was of the right social stature or whatever the heck their reasons were. I earned it. That panel of judges chose me that day, and why would I give it away?
Amen to
Like,
that.
it didn't matter to me that they did. I mean, well, it did matter. Like, it really did honestly hurt my feelings with some of the things that were said, that people didn't want me or didn't think that I deserved it. But I know I earned it.
Did you have anyone to talk to?
Oh yeah, absolutely. There were plenty of friends within the pageant community, outside the pageant community. My state director, Janelle, was amazing. The North Carolina, South Carolina director at the time, Lee Pettyjohn, again, amazing. Um, there were other sister queens. Jerry Ward was very supportive during that year,
Mm,
and Joanne Brown, who was the first African American Mrs. International.
right.
She was probably the pillar of my support system during that year.
Wonderful. Are you able to recognize, based on what you went through, do you see other Black women in pageantry perhaps having similar experiences? Are you able to? Of course, they're not going to verbalize this. Well, hopefully, they will begin verbalizing it. But are you able to? Do you believe that this is an issue that needs to be addressed? Things that are happening, the type of adversity that women can experience in pageants. Do you think this is something that we should address for the mental health of the contestants?
Absolutely. I mean, did you miss the Miss America documentary? I mean, if Miss America, the pillar of all pageants, the African American queens, they had their issues, and a lot of the same issues still carry over from system to system. It doesn't really matter, right? We all face very much of the same issues. But yes, I know that other African American queens and other systems have experienced some things, maybe not as much, but it is what it is. If we don't push forward, then we can't make any change.
What is it like for Black women in pageantry since you were Miss Beliza Latina? Is there still relevancy for um, is there still relevancy for ethnic pageants in general?
Absolutely. I mean, you can be proud to be Italian, you can be proud to be German, but unfortunately, for so many Black Americans in the United States, we can't say, well, I'm proud to be Nigerian or I'm proud to be Zimbabwean because we don't know where we came from, right? So the only thing that unites us is the color of our skin, right? If we had that history, right? If we knew where we came from, if I knew that my ancestors were taken from Nigeria and that culture was brought into the United States, and that is something that I could carry on with my descendants. But the fact of the matter is, for a large part of my ancestry, I don't know where they came from because they didn't come here
Right.
voluntarily. So there's no reason why we can't share and celebrate the differences, right? That doesn't mean that we can't all get along and live in harmony and we're not all one people, because we absolutely are. But God all made us all different, right? And there's no reason not to celebrate our differences. So if we can have, Miss Italian American or whatever pageants, right? Yes, you can have pageants that celebrate your ethnicity.
So, should Black women only compete in pageants that celebrate their ethnicity, or should we continue um, uh, going into other pageants where it appears that other cultures are not celebrated?
I think we should do any pageant that we want, right? The doors are not shut, but just kind of like a dress size, there is a pageant of every kind for every person. So if you want to do a pageant that's focusing on platform, great, find one. If you want to do one that celebrates being shorter, like a petite pageant, great, do it. If you want to celebrate being plus size, right, there's a pageant for that. And if you want to celebrate your ethnicity, there is a pageant for that. So I don't think that we should limit ourselves to any of them.
Right. Okay. So, what have you been doing post Mrs.
Right.
International?
Resting. um, a lot of working. As you know, I coach high school cheerleading and I coach college cheerleading. So that keeps me very, very busy. I'm super proud of my high school cheerleaders this year because we won the state championship. So I'm very proud of the kids and the work that they put in. So that takes up a lot of my time. But also, when I left, when I gave up my reign, I wasn't sure if I wanted to. Why is it telling me I've been logged out? Can you?
Oh, it's telling you that? Uh-oh. Oh my gosh.
There we go.
Oh my.
Woo! Instagram was busy today, huh?
Instagram. Oh my goodness. Okay, so you were right in the middle of answering the question of what you've been doing since Mrs. International.
Doing a lot of working. I coach high school cheer, competitive high school cheer. I also coach a collegiate team, so been extremely busy. Shout out to my high school team because we clinched the state championship title for Maryland this year. So I'm really, really proud of my kids because
Congratulations.
they have worked so hard. Thank you. I actually just got back from our conference NCAA tournament like 4 days ago with the college team. So I've been busy on the pageant front, really just kind of deciding if I was done with pageantry, if I was done competing, like what do I want to do?
And
And so I kind of working on some things in the
okay,
background.
because I was about to cut you off. I'm like, don't you say anything yet because I promise that you're going to reveal your next move in the world of pageantry right here on my series. So don't you say anything yet because everybody's waiting for it.
Okay, I won't say anything. My
Don't say
goodness.
anything yet. Um, let's go back to Black women in pageantry today.
Okay.
Uh, who in pageantry inspired you? It could be
Hmm.
someone that we all know. It can be someone that we are not familiar with yet.
Are we saying like inspired me to get involved in pageantry
Yes.
from the beginning?
Yes.
You know what? I would probably have to say Kenya Moore.
Hmm.
I just remember being young, watching Miss Universe, watching Miss USA, and there was something about Kenya Moore and her win that told me I can do this. Like I want to try that. And you know, I had done a pageant before Kenya was crowned, and it was actually punishment from my parents, right? Because it was so much of a tomboy, and so that's really how I got started in pageantry. Is it was punishment from my parents because I was such a tomboy. I don't remember what I did, but my mom was like, "Yep, you're gonna go do this beauty pageant," and I guess she thought that it was going to set me
Right.
awry. But then right after that, I remember watching Kenya Moore on TV as Miss USA, and I was like, "Wow, like I should have given that." More of an effort, more of a try, and it was kind of like, you know what? All right. Yeah, it was punishment, but I did have fun and I liked it. So now I'm going to start studying it and take it for real.
Mm, right. What do you think about, tell me your thoughts on, because I've heard this a lot. I mean, I've only been in pageantry during my adult years for about 3 years now. I did compete when I was a little girl in the Bahamas. It was Little Miss Bahamas. I think I was 8 or 9 years old, but I got the courage to do it after the age of 50, which was 3 years ago. And I've been hearing this. They don't like Black girls. Black girls will never win. She won because she was a token. You know, things have been said like that. What do you think about those type of comments? Is there any truth to not winning because you're Black, or they will never pick a Black woman, and if they do, it's a token? And you hear these things, and I don't want to dismiss anyone's feelings because they feel what they feel. It doesn't mean that it's true or not.
Mhm.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think you only know what you know. And let me explain what I mean. When you see systems that, long time have winners that are maybe all tall or all blonde or whatever the case may be, a lot of time it's because the director or the judges coordinators or whoever is selecting the judges they are only thinking from their own experience, right? So they're carrying into that selection processes with them their own internal biases. And,
Mm.
and you know, I think that that is the key, right? Are the judges carrying their own internal biases into this competition? Is the person who selected the judges carrying their own biases into the competition? Because ultimately, it is the person who selected the judges, right? But that judging panel will select the winner. So if you pick people for the judging panel that come from very similar backgrounds, right, that enjoy similar things or have had similar life experiences, you are going to get a certain type of winner. You
Mm.
may not get
Mm.
a diverse winner. And that's just facts, right? And so when you have, I hate when people say those comments like, a Black woman will never win, right? One of the things that was said to me after Mrs. International was, well, you only won because there were two Black people on the panel.
Right.
And I was like,
Right. There was, yeah.
really? Because, we all stick together, right? Like, because instinctively, that's the only reason why they voted for me. Negate the other three people that were on the panel, right? But it had to be for the two people who looked like me. And I asked that person, I said, okay, if that's how you feel, if you feel that I only won because there were two Black people on this panel, then how do you explain the umpteenth years when there's all white people on the panel and you get a white winner?
Right.
And they had nothing to say.
Wow. See, that's the thing, right? Saying things like you only won because there were Black people on the panel.
Right.
Why, when a Black woman wins, it has to be because there were Black people involved, or because the system is looking for a token, or why does it have to be something? Why can't it be because she was the best in every category?
I think
You know?
I think for many competitors, it is because this person was the best in every category. But pageantry, like professional sports or anything else, right? You will always have people who will find the negative in something.
Right.
And that's just a fact of life, right? People are always going to say, well, this person got this job because of nepotism. This person got this job because, their grandma plays, golf with so and so,
Right.
right? People will always find a reason to discount someone for something or another, right?
Right.
Sometimes it's race, sometimes it's, excuse me, education or whatever else. But I do think as a whole, pageant directors try. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I do think as a whole, pageant directors try to select balanced panels.
Go ahead and take a break. Guys, friends, you're listening to Yolanda Stennett. She is my guest on my pageant series here, The Crowned Voice. She's a former Mrs. Earth 2008, Ms. Beliza Latina 2009, Ms. Galaxy 2011, and Mrs. International 2021. I'm just giving you all of her former titles so that you see she is qualified for what she is talking about and her next steps. And I know all of you are wondering what the next steps are, but you will have to wait a little bit more
I've
before.
been getting asked all day.
You've been getting asked all day, right? So let's get back to Black women in pageant. So based on what you just said, I believe that a Black woman should move forward in her dream or her passion to compete in beauty pageants, despite all of the negative things that are being said, that you will never win, that this pageant system is racist. However, you did bring up a very good point about the panel of judges. How can a director or a pageant owner really vet their panel of judges to make it more fair, to make it more inclusive, to make it more transparent?
Well,
What are your thoughts on that?
I think you have to consider all the options, right? I've directed pageants in the past, and a lot of times directors try to find different ways to save money. So if you can find a way to save money by not flying a judge in, right? Someone that can drive, then you're saving money on not having to purchase a plane ticket. But I think when you have these large national pageants where it's a America in the name or United States in the name, um, you have to pull your panel of judges from all across the United States. Meaning, if your pageant is in Texas, your entire panel shouldn't be people who live in Texas,
Right.
right? If this is a national pageant, then you've got to pull people from all different parts of the country. You have to pull people with different educational backgrounds, from different socioeconomic statuses, from people of different sizes, different marital statuses. The only way you're going to make that panel fair for every one of your competitors is to make sure that it is diverse and equitable and inclusive.
I've seen international pageants where women come from other countries. And not only the judging panel is not representative of them, but they are like totally left out. They're like lost. There is no hospitality director to greet them and to accommodate them and make sure that all their needs are met. There is nothing there for these women. So I think there's a lot of work that needs to be done.
Of course. I mean, but again, you don't know what you don't know, right? If you've never been on the side of the fence where you're not accepted, right? Or things are different from you, then you're not going to instinctively think, you know what, I should have a translator.
Mm-hmm.
I should have a hospitality person, right? If you've never been in that position to where you're not the outsider, or if you've always been on the in or in places where they always speak English. And I'm not talking about going to like Cancun on a resort, because
Right,
that's totally different, right? You know
right.
what I mean? So if you've never been in that position where you've had to be the person on the outside, it's really hard to know what is necessary. But that's why I think so many pageants, they need someone on their board or on their staff that focuses on DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. For example, it burns me up, like burns me up when pageants say that your entry fee covers opening number dress and your shoes,
Right,
right?
right,
And so I've paid my money for a pair of shoes, and when I get them, my shoes are nude, but nude isn't the same color on everyone,
right,
right? And that pageant didn't stop to think that, oh, if I look a little harder, I could find a brand that offers a range of nudes, right? But instead, they often just pull the first sponsor that's willing to help them. Now, if I put on a pair of shoes that's a general nude color, from far away, it looks like I have on a pair of white shoes.
shoes, yeah.
It's ridiculous because the entire purpose of wearing a nude shoe is to have the illusion of long legs and for it to blend in. But if you, as a director, are not giving that opportunity
Wow.
to all of your contestants, then you're doing a disservice. There are plenty of brands out there that offer nudes in different shades. The question is, do the directors care enough about the contestants that are supporting their business to want to go and seek that out?
Yeah. And in this conversation, we're talking about Black contestants. You mentioned the shoes and the nude. Nude will definitely not look good on me, that color nude,
Right,
because I am pitch dark. I am very, very dark. So I need something that looks a little more, darker nude like chocolate. It looks
right.
like it's saying that we're logged out again. Um, Yeah, I'm getting a logged out. Friends, if you are watching, give us a couple of minutes. We're having technical difficulties. We will be right back in this conversation. So join us again. Call a friend, tell a friend, let them know that we will be right back. The conversation is going to get even better because in a couple of minutes, Yolanda is going to make her announcement. So
Oh,
stay
Crystal
tuned.
says somebody says they can still see us. Do you want to keep
Oh,
going
okay. So
until?
let's keep going.
Yeah.
So I forgot what I was. Okay, so we're talking about the shoes. So if the shoes are off, can you imagine, as dark as I am, and I'm at a pageant, and you have at least 7 dark Black women in your pageant competing that year, and the only makeup person you have there
Girl, don't get me
is
started on
is
that.
someone who says, I can do all skin tones. I understand that, but I am not all skin tones. I am very chocolate dark.
Absolutely.
And so that is what irritates me. It's like a system is, you are taking the entry fees from everyone, but you are not accommodating everyone. Like you said, the shoes. I'm talking about the makeup,
Oh,
even the fitness wear,
hairstylist.
the
Don't get
hairstylist.
me don't get me started on hairstylists.
What about the fitness wear? Okay, you have Caribbean women, black women, who we are talking about specifically tonight, whose bodies are very curvy, right? That stuff that you're asking us to wear for fitness, it looks horrible on our body types.
Yep.
So,
But again, you only know what you know. And a lot of times I find that in the world of pageantry, talking about race and things that affect women of color is so taboo. They don't
yeah,
want to have the
they don't want to have the
conversations. Right.
conversation.
And there's no way to grow if you don't have the conversations. When pageants say this is our sponsored makeup artist or our sponsored hairstylist, if your sponsored hairstylist cannot do all textures of hair, and I'm not talking about the lace
Right,
front that I'm talking about the hair that grows out of someone's head. So if your hair and makeup team cannot accommodate servicing someone with all hair types, but yet you're taking money from people with all hair types, then what are you doing?
right.
What are
You're
you doing?
taking money from people with all hair types, all skin tones,
Right.
all
But
body
right. But you're
shapes.
not providing the services to accommodate all those people. I mean, and it's the same thing, right? Like, are you accommodating people who with special dietary needs? Are you accommodating people, who are of different sizes? Whatever the case may be, right? If you are not at least attempting to accommodate, and I find that directors will often say, do you have any special dietary needs, right? They will accommodate that. But so many of these pageants, especially the large known pageants, they do not accommodate with hair and makeup artists
For this
that can
complexion.
handle a woman of various colors. They do not accommodate when they're giving you your shoes that actually are nude, that come in various colors. I mean, it's 2024. Why are we not thinking
Right,
about this? Like,
right,
as
right. And
directors, why are you not thinking about this?
especially the body type as well, because again, specifically for black women who we are talking about tonight, our bodies are not straight. We cannot wear straight fitness wear. We have curves. There are curves. Fitness
Mhm.
wear should accommodate our curves, but that doesn't happen. Anyway, your announcement, Mrs.
Ooh,
Stennett.
are
Tell
you
us,
ready?
are you
Um,
going into another pageant?
I'm not going to say no to that. I'm not going to say that's off the table, but that is not the announcement today. That is
What is the
not the
announcement?
announcement. So, I always believe in treating people how you want to be treated. And not very long, well, let me start back. Years ago, I directed pageants. I had created my own system, and in the very first year of the system that I created, it was turned into a
Oh,
documentary on women's entertainment
wow.
television. And then I sold it. And then I ran a local for the Miss USA system. I ran Miss Northern Virginia USA for a little bit. And then I stopped, I walked away from pageantry altogether and then came back and started competing again. And over the years, I've had so many people who have asked me about bringing back the system that I had created 20 years ago. And that's a no. I'm not going to bring that back. Um, but I've been told and I've been asked, you need to start another system. Like, you need to bring something to the table that the rest of us, that address all the things that we are missing. So that leads me to 2004, 2006. Yes, 2006. I did a pageant, and very nice gentleman, very, very nice, supported my state director in many things. And, I just did my duty as the queen. And one point he said, that he was going into pageant coaching. and he wanted to make DVDs. And he said, hey, the sessions that we've done together, can I use your videos as teaching points in my DVD? I didn't care. I didn't want any money. I was just like, whatever, if it helps somebody else, great. Let it have it. And I didn't think any more of it. Well, he and I kept in touch over the years. I mean, not necessarily talking every day, right? But every 3-4 years, something would come up and we talked to each other. Well, he called me a couple months back now and said, hey, I've got some stuff going on and I think I have, something that I need to make up to you. I'm like, well, what are you talking about? And he, brought up how we met back in that pageant 20 years ago. And he said, I really feel like I owe you one. You, without a doubt, without a question, you offered to help me and use your videos in my DVDs and you never asked for anything in return, all these years. And he said, I want to do you a solid. He said, I feel like I need to repay a debt that I've been owing for 20 years. So I said, okay, what is it? And he and I were talking. And again, he's another person who had encouraged me to bring back my system from years ago. And I'm trying not to cry because
Oh,
this is really, you do right by people and you never know when it's going to come back. Anyway, I say this to say I found out last month with working with him that I am now the proud holder of 2 United States trademarks for pageant names. And one I'm going to act on immediately. And
yay.
the other one I'm going to sit on for a little bit. But he had actually did the work. And, after the conversations, he did the work. He got the trademarks. He put in the applications. He did
Look at the
everything.
hearts.
Right. He did everything. And then he called me and said, it's done. The trademark's approved. And now I'm going to transfer them to you.
Wow.
Because I had no idea how to file for a trademark, didn't know
Ow.
how to do it, didn't really want to sometimes, especially during cheer season, I don't got time for anything else, right? So I was just like, yeah, I'll get to it. Don't have time. And so, yeah.
Wow.
So
Wow.
so
So
I
that's more than I expected you to say. I thought you, wow. Congratulations.
thank you. Thank you. Really excited about the opportunity that I think I'm going to be able to bring to some women.
What is the name?
Been
What is the name?
I'll get to that in a second. I did a lot of searching, trying to figure out where was there a hole, where was there a need,
Okay.
and one of the things that I realized is for Black women especially, there is a lack, kind of none, right, of pageants for married Black women
Okay.
that have a really good name. Because I'm going to tell you, I'm a bit of a pageant snob, right? So I'm not doing Miss Sunshine of America ambassador. I'm not doing none of those. Like, I'm not participating in any of those
Miss
kind of pageants because,
Petrie.
yeah, like if the name sounds crazy, I'm not doing it. So finding a name that's not like, Miss World Universal of America in the continents, right? Because we know that there are some pageants out there with the crazy names, right? So I just couldn't find a name. But I'm really excited to say that I am on the hunt for my inaugural queens.
What is the
So
name?
I will be opening up applications in a week. Uh, but I am the owner of the Ms. Well, I can do all divisions. I can do all divisions, but right now I'm only focusing on Ms. and Mrs.
Okay.
Black United States.
Oh, Mrs. Black United States. I'm writing that down.
And Ms. Black United States. I'm only focusing on those 2 right now because I feel like when you put so many divisions, right, your attention is split, your attention split, your money is split, all that kind of stuff. And I really want to focus and give women an amazing experience. So as of April 1st, I'll be taking applications for my inaugural Mrs. Black United States and Ms. Black United States. I've already got the Instagram name secured, right? I already have placeholder
Wow.
website up. I'm just waiting to hit the button on the 1st to launch it. I've already got some sponsors. I mean, I'm just going to do inaugural
Wow.
queens, and I've got some sponsors that are going to give gifts to the inaugural queens. And then the
Wow.
very first live pageant will be next summer in 2025.
Okay. All right. That was a lot. That was a lot. I see all the hearts. Everyone is saying congratulations to you and congratulations.
You.
Wow. Mrs. Black United States.
Yes.
Wow. How is your pageant going to be? Well, how is your pageant going to be different?
Well, I think it's one of the places where I hope that my contestants will feel like they're home.
Mm,
I am celebrating sisterhood and fellowship and service and finer womanhood. We all know where those terms come from.
right.
Uh, and I just want us to have fun, right? It doesn't matter if we are, so many times in my pageant experience, it's been, don't compete with the braids, don't compete with the locks, don't do this. But know that we will be fully celebrated here for everything that we are and everything that we bring to the table. Curves, hair, it's all about our inner beauty and what we're doing and how we're doing it. And I really just want my ladies to feel like they can 100% be themselves. They don't have to try to fit in somewhere else because this is home.
Wow. I have a lot to say. You said you're going to launch April 1st.
April 1st, I'm going to start taking applications. So I'm going kind of running it as like an online pageant. Very, very small entry fee. There will be online interviews,
Okay.
and I'll have a real panel of judges to help select the inaugural
Okay.
queens. The inaugural queens will be announced on Juneteenth. And we're just gonna roll from there, and then hopefully we'll have them out making appearances throughout the summer, and I will start taking applications for state delegates on July 1st. And like I said, the first live pageant will be next summer, 2025, most likely in the DC area.
Oh, so you're going to start the inaugural Queens. It's going to be an online process.
Yes.
And then the national pageant will be next year, 2025, in the DC area. That's
Yes.
where I can
I think
show up with my braids and my gown and just, okay, wow.
absolutely. And I am from the DC area, and so I feel like this is where I have the most connections, but also I knew that if I were going to do a Black United States pageant, there was really only two places that I could have it: Atlanta or DC.
Why not Atlanta? Atlanta would have been nice.
Because I'm from
There you
DC, girl.
go.
Atlanta.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm
Wow.
not going to Atlanta.
Okay, I'm playing devil's advocate here. Okay.
Okay, what you got?
So we're talking about Black women in pageant, and now you launch a Black pageant.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you have to have a Black pageant? Why can't you have an all-inclusive pageant for the white girls?
Because there's 750 million of them. I don't need to add more to that pot. But what there isn't is pageants that celebrate Black women. There's not very
Mm,
many. There's very, very few. And the ones that are reputable and large, they don't even have a Mrs.
right,
division.
for the
So,
married women.
exactly. So there's no home, right, in the larger pageants for ethnic women. And I felt like that's, as a married woman, right? I'm very happy to be married, very proud to be married. So why not be able to celebrate it?
You know, while you're saying that, it takes me back to Black History Month. I was doing a lot of research, and I love vintage. I love old Hollywood. I love the era of the '60s, the '50s, the '60s. I just love that. And I came across many Black
Yes.
pageants, and the women were so elegant. The women were so beautiful and poised and graceful. So as you're speaking, and those images are coming. I'm remembering those images of the grace, the beauty, the fashion fair women. Remember those
Oh,
ladies?
yes.
And I know that you know what I'm talking about, so
Ebony
I can
fashion
imagine
fair
what you're going to
girl.
bring.
Oh, we're gonna have a blast. It will definitely be focused a lot on service and sisterhood. But oh yeah, this is where you can get on stage and you can work it, and nobody's gonna tell you that it's too much. I remember watching a pageant last summer and
Yeah.
hearing people in the audience say things specifically about a couple of the African American contestants. Oh, she was doing too much. Well, ain't no doing too much over here, right? You don't have to tone it down.
Oh
Right?
wow. I wish I was still competing because I remember being told that I was too fierce. My facial expression during my evening gown or just my stage presence was too fierce and that I needed to tone it down. And I don't know how to tone it down. I don't know how to bring anything down. I do everything big. So they were telling me I need to tone it down, that I was too fierce. And I remember you telling me, because you gave me your time, you told me, Cynthia, be yourself. Remember that conversation?
Yes, I
you
do.
you said don't change. I was like, they don't want me to wear red lipstick. They don't want me to be, my hair is too short. You were like, Cynthia, be yourself. And that was so important.
Yeah, I mean, far too many times we have to code switch every day. Um, and we have to do it at work, and we have to do it when we're outside grocery shopping,
Right,
right?
right,
Like, we are taught from yay high how to code
right.
switch. And every single pageant that I've ever done, I've had to code switch, right? And I'm tired. Like, it made me exhausted.
Yeah, it is.
Made me exhausted. It made me exhausted of pageantry. It made me exhausted of my experiences, although I cherish them and I love them and I wouldn't trade them. And it's fun and I very much enjoy pageantry. But having to code switch all the time is exhausting. And so I just want to offer an opportunity to women of color, Black women, specifically Black women or of Black descent, right? Where you don't have to code switch. You don't.
Even our walk, we
No.
don't have to we don't
Oh
have to
no.
bring down the sash. We don't have
No.
to bring the we don't have to wow.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. This is where you get to turn up and show out. Show up and show out, right? You know how to walk in those heels. You know how to turn, because it burns me up when girls get on stage and they try to turn and they can barely walk in their heels, much less turn, right? But oh no, bring it. I want to see the twirls. I want to see everything. Bring it.
Alex, wow, Yolanda, I am so excited. I am so excited for you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I wish you
It's
all the best. Okay, so all of the women who are watching, you've heard it here first. Yolanda is launching her very own pageant. She's done this before. She's bringing it back on a bigger, grander level. It's Mrs. Black United States,
and
launching
Ms.
on
Black.
April 1st.
Yes.
Tell the ladies how to contact you.
Okay, so you can Instagram pages, Black United States Pageant, or Mrs. Black United States, or Ms. Black United States, or you can go on the internet to blackunitedstates.net, and there's going to be actually the Black United States pageant.com, but it's not live yet, so it's coming.
All right, ladies, you heard it here
Feel free.
first.
Feel
If
free to
you
reach out to me. And like I said, it's going to be a Ms. and Mrs., right?
okay.
And I think people are going to enjoy it because I think it's going to fill a hole that's missing for some Black women in pageantry. And again, this is not to exclude anyone. This is not like in spite of anyone. I very much could have started a pageant that, was for all people, right? But there's so many of them already. Number one, all the good names are already taken, right? And like I said, I am not doing Miss Sunshine States of the world, right? I'm not coming up with a name like that. That's ridiculous. So all the good names are already taken. And then I really thought about it, and I thought about what I wanted and what I wanted my legacy to be, and where I really enjoyed the most parts of pageantry. And it's helping other women who look like me or come from similar backgrounds getting started in pageantry. And I want people to be able to embrace themselves, celebrate yourself, right? This is not to disparage anyone else. It's literally just an opportunity to celebrate ourselves.
And on that note, Friends, thank you so much for tuning in. Yolanda, thank you for being my guest. I wish
No
you the
problem.
best. Call on me if you need support and help in any way. I am here.
Thank you so much, Cynthia. Appreciate the opportunity.
You're welcome. Friends, thank you for tuning in. Call a friend, tell a friend this good news. Have a wonderful weekend. I am the queen of pageant talk, and this was the Crown Voice. Bye bye.